Back in 2019, on a crisp spring day in Hamburg, a 25-year-old woman took the stage at one of the world's largest digital marketing conventions. Verena Balsan, heir to one of Germany's most successful family-run businesses, would say something that would spark outrage across the globe. Balsan is a baked goods empire, known for their Leibniz butter biscuits, Choco Leibniz, and animal crackers, raking in hundreds of millions of dollars each year. But it was her comment about the company's massive fortune that would get her into trouble. It wasn't just the fact that she was a 25-year-old millionaire aiming for a yacht. It was how her wealth was built, on the backs of forced laborers during World War II. From 1940 until the end of the war, Balsan relied on hundreds of forced laborers at their Hanover factory, many of whom had been taken from occupied territories. When Verena made the mistake of defending her company's past, claiming the laborers were treated fairly and paid the same as German workers, the backlash was swift and furious. Public outrage reached its peak, and Verena was quickly removed from the spotlight, forced to issue an apology, but by then it was too late. Things only got worse when journalists dug deeper. They uncovered that the Balsan family had ties to the Nazi Party, with donations to the SS and involvement in wartime exploitation. The company had even taken over a factory in Kiev after the Nazi occupation, using forced labor from there as well. Despite hiring a historian to look into their past, the Balsans couldn't erase their dark history. But Balsan isn't the only family in Germany with a legacy stained by the horrors of the Nazi regime. This video delves into the stories of three prominent families, their immense wealth, and the difficult, dark truths about how they amassed their fortunes. Chapter 1. Dr. Oetker, the silent billionaire. One of the most well-known names in German business is Dr. Oetker, a giant in the food industry. But the history of the family behind it is far from savory. Rudolf August Oetker, who transformed the company into a multi-billion-dollar empire, was no stranger to Nazi sympathies. He volunteered to join the Waffen-SS during the war and was deeply involved in the Nazi-era economy. But after the war, he managed to dodge justice, claiming he had been forcibly conscripted. His exoneration was swift, thanks to an internal company subcommittee, and he quickly rose to lead the company. It wasn't until after his death that the Oetker family commissioned an investigation into the company's Nazi ties. The findings were unsettling, but the family remained tight-lipped. Even though they've made efforts to address their past, much of it remains buried. Today, Oetker is still one of the world's largest family-run food companies, with the Oetker children among the wealthiest people on the planet. But their father's Nazi past is still a point of contention, one that many family members prefer not to discuss. Chapter 2. The von Fink Dynasty, Wealth Built on Opportunism. August von Fink Jr. was one of Germany's wealthiest billionaires before his death in 2021, with vast holdings in real estate and finance. But his fortune, and that of his family, has its roots in the darkest chapters of history. His father, August von Fink Sr., was a prominent financier who didn't hesitate to support the Nazi regime. Von Fink Sr. funded the SA and the SS and played a key role in targeting Jewish-owned businesses, including some of Germany's largest banks. After the war, August Sr. avoided any serious punishment for his collaboration with the Nazis. His son, August Jr., inherited this fortune and moved to Switzerland to avoid paying taxes. The von Fink family has never fully acknowledged their role in financing the Nazi regime, and the wealth they amassed through it remains largely unspoken. Chapter 3. Quandt, the billionaire family that won't acknowledge its past. Gunther Quandt, the patriarch of one of Germany's most powerful families, is another name with a tainted past. A key figure in Nazi Germany's armament industry, Quandt's factories used thousands of forced laborers to produce ammunition and batteries. After the war, he managed to avoid accountability, paying only a small fine. His son, Herbert Quandt, inherited the fortune and transformed the Quandt family into the owners of BM. Despite their immense wealth, the Quandt family has been reluctant to confront their Nazi history. Although they have made some efforts in recent years to support research into their past, much of the story remains hidden from the public. Today, the Quandts are among the wealthiest people in the world, but their Nazi connections are still a dark cloud hanging over their legacy. Conclusion. The culture of silence. Germany's post-war culture of remembrance, Erinnerungskultur, has led to significant progress in confronting the nation's Nazi past. Memorials, museums, and educational programs aim to ensure that the horrors of the Third Reich are never forgotten. But for some of Germany's wealthiest families, acknowledging the full extent of how their fortunes were built remains uncomfortable, and in many cases completely ignored. As the wealth of families like the Balsens, Etkers, von Finks, and Quants continues to grow, the question remains, can we truly separate their fortunes from the crimes of their ancestors? Should their wealth be re-examined, and should they finally face the consequences of their family histories? Only time will tell if these dynasties will ever fully reckon with their past, or if they will continue to live in the shadow of the Nazi era, hiding their darkest secrets. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us for more videos like this.